Hey guys, it's Sammy. I wear makeup on my face, but I don't like to wear a lot of makeup recently. In my past couple videos, I haven't been wearing a lot of makeup, so I thought today I would be showing you my current everyday hair and makeup routine. We're going to start with my makeup. So the first thing I did was remove all my excess makeup from last night that I could not get off because I use waterproof mascara and a lot of primers, so there's always just a little bit left over. The next thing I do is prime my face with the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Face Primer. I just put like that much on my hand and I rub it all over my face. I only started using this right when I went to LA because it's humid, more humid there than here in the middle of the desert, and I wanted my foundation to stay on, but it actually works better here where it's dry, because in LA it made my face oily, but here it stops my face from drying out. Now that I'm actually a shade of pink, I move on to my brows. To fill in my brows, I wet this IT Cosmetics eyebrow brush with this Wet n Wild face setting spray so that I can turn this eyeshadow that I use into more of a liquid product. So then I just fill in my eyebrows. This is probably the only part that's not super natural, but I have a specific brow that I like, and I do that whether I do my makeup crazy or not. One brow complete. Now I move on to the other brow. The next thing I do is I clean up the underneath of my brows and a little bit around the arches, if you can call them that, with concealer. I use the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Dark Circle Eraser. You will also see in a second that I use this as the only foundation on my face. This is my favorite part because this is what makes my eyebrows look super freaking good. Where'd it go? There it is. The last step of my brows is that I take the Benefit Gimme Brow in the shade number 3. Jacob gave this to me when I was in LA and I absolutely love it, and I run this through my brow. Focusing it mostly on the front of my brows to give them that more like ooh, ah look to them. 7 minutes into recording this and I've only done my brows. Now moving on to my face makeup. I crank up the same concealer I used under my brows and I just put it under my eyeballs, on my chin, and 2 dots here and 1 here, and a tiny bit on my nose, and then I just blend it in with this brush. I like to work in stages when I do my face makeup because I don't really know if I'm having a good skin day or a bad skin day until I start putting makeup on it. So if I look like I can put a little bit more in certain places, I will, specifically around my mouth, because I have a little bit of discoloration around my mouth. It's a tad green for some reason, so I like to cover that up. Once I've evened out the basic complexion of my face, I like to go in one more time with the same concealer. I know, hence why this is almost empty. I use it for everything. And I go back under my eyes and make sure I get the inner corner so that it's very bright. I really don't like this area of my face to look dark at all. So then I close my eye and I just blend it in. I also noticed I have a blemish right here, so I'm just gonna put a little bit on that and then just dab it out with my finger to get more concentrated coverage. And voila! That is almost the end of my face makeup. To set my face, I take this e.l.f. Luminance Soft Powder and I use the powder puff that it comes with. I just take it and whatever on it I shake off. I usually just tap it on like my knee or my leg to get most of the product off. And then I just gently put this on my face, concentrating it in the center of my face where I would get a tiny bit oily. I also use this to set my eyelids because I'm not going to be wearing eyeshadow because this is natural and eyeshadow takes a long time. That is basically it for the actual like color correcting face part of my face. Now I move on to the fake freckles, and this is controversial. A lot of people don't like this. I'm kind of freckly all over. Like, I have freckles on my arms and on my shoulders, but on my face I mostly just have like beauty marks, and some would call them moles, but they don't really poke out. They're just very large freckles, and those get covered up with my foundation. And it's kind of weird. If I ever wear a tank top, I have freckles all over my shoulders, but not on my face. So I feel like I'm allowed to have, I'm Irish, I'm allowed to have freckles. I don't need to justify myself. Maybe if I wasn't afraid of the sun and stayed inside 24/7, I would have natural freckles on my face, but if you don't have it, fake it. So I take this Kylie Jenner liquid lipstick, and I take a eyebrow spoolie and I dip the wire tip of the eyebrow spoolie onto the Kylie Jenner liquid lipstick. I use Kylie Jenner liquid lipstick because it stays all day and will not move off of your face. Okay, so I like to dab a tiny bit off on my fingers first to make sure I don't just get like a huge dot on my face, and I dot it on, and then I take my finger and I transfer it all over. So I create more than one freckle in the same shape, if that makes sense. So I dab them on and then I spread them out with my finger. And I just continue to do that, but I have to get the liquid lipstick back on to my thing a lot, because it dries really quick because it is a liquid lipstick. I like to do a lot of freckles over my nose bridge because freckles would naturally be on the higher points of your face. If I ever get a freckle that's too big, I find if I just pat it a lot of times, it will just disappear and melt into my skin. I don't only put them right here on my face, I like to bring them sort of around the rest of my face, because if you had freckles, they wouldn't just be in the perfect area, they would be spread out. I like to focus them up here on my forehead around this natural couple freckles I have up there, because it's like, oh, which freckles are real and which ones are fake. Same thing with above my eyebrows. They look really good up there because I have some real freckles there. And down here on my chin. After I do my freckles, I move on to blush and highlighter. So for my blush, I just take this shade right here in this big palette that I got from Ross. I literally just love this palette for this blush and the highlighter. And I want to find a duplicate of it that's not like in a giant ugly container, but what are you gonna do? So I just take this blush and I dab it off a lot, and I focus it right here on the tops of my cheeks. And I like to take it across my nose bridge. Sort of anywhere that I gave myself freckles, sort of appearing kind of sunburnt, but in a cute way. If I put too much on, I just take my powder puff from earlier and I dab it off. And then I get to do the fun part, I get to highlight. So I take the highlighter from this palette and I take a little bit on this brush and I put it on my nose tip and on the bridge of my nose and on my cheekbones and my cupid, so. And then I just like to take the blush brush and make sure I get all of the blush off. I usually just do it on my leg. And then I like to go back over and make sure everything is good. Now it comes time for my eyes. And for my eyes, I only do mascara. So I take my eyelash curler, I hold it upside down, I take my lighter, and I light it up for about 10 seconds. Then I let it cool down for a tiny bit because you can't put it on your eye right after you heat it up because you'll burn your eyelid. I test it against my nose, and if it doesn't burn my nose, that means it's good to put on my eye. Your nose is like really sensitive. It's like one of the most sensitive spots on your body, the tip of your nose. So yeah, then I curl my eyelashes. If you're wondering why I do this, it's because my eyelashes want to just hang there and not curl, and this makes them curl. So I plop it on until it's no longer hot feeling. And then I take my mascara. This is just, honestly, I don't know what mascara this is because all of the labels have worn off. But I just take the mascara and I put it on my eyelashes. Ta-da! And I did get it all over my eyelid, but I go back and I clean that up afterwards, and then I repeat on my bottom lashes. And now I do the same thing to my other eye, which is looking incredibly small right now compared to this eye. The last thing I do for my natural makeup is my lips. So I take the foundation brush I used and I just go over them just slightly like this. Where's my lip gloss? Uh-oh. Normally right now I would put lip gloss on to make my lips glossy, but since I don't have that, I'm just gonna lick my lips. I'm too lazy to go get it out of my purse. Then I take this red lipstick. It is the L'Oreal color in Charismatic Coral. And I put it in the center of my lips. That was a lot. Ta-da! And that is my everyday makeup routine. Now, moving on to my hair. So my hair is quite long, as you can see, and this is it in its natural state. It's not perfectly straight, but I don't really have much like texture to it at all. The only part I really have any texture in my hair is where it's been dyed, so like down here. Other than that, my hair is pretty straight. So the first thing I like to do is spray some of this mane and tail detangler on my ends because my ends get super knotted while I sleep, and this just refreshes them and makes them not have like a matted texture because they're so damaged. I'm taking this brush that is for volumizing your hair and brushing my hair. My hair was already pretty much tangle free, that's why I'm just like ripping through it because I brushed it like 20 minutes ago, so yeah. This is what my hair looks like when it is brushed. Now the next step that I do, it's tangled so much. I take my Vanity Planet Flow hairbrush flat iron and I turn the temperature all the way up to 370. On the first day I do 370, on the second day I do it somewhere within the 200s because I don't need it to be that hot, but this is first day hair, so we want to straighten it really good. I give this a little bit to heat up and then I start straightening my hair once I know it's hot, and it is hot. I take a front section of my hair and I take the Vanity Planet brush and I put it under like this, and then I just drag down my hair. Ta-da! And that is how I straighten my hair. Okay, so then I continue doing that on the rest of my hair in small sections. Sometimes I'll go underneath like this, but then sometimes I also like to go on top and hold it. It just depends on how I'm feeling that day. Today I'm thinking a mixture of both will do. So yeah, I'm going to straighten my whole head now. One side complete. Then I like to, this is so random, but to keep this hair sectioned off, I take it and I stick it in my shirt because that's where it's safe. And then I move on to the second side. Now, if you're one of those people that hates it if their hair has like a kink in the back after they straighten it, I like to put all of my hair to the back and just do a couple final pulls just through the top of my hair to make sure that I got all of the kinks out from like ponytails when I'm sleeping. And yeah, if you guys are interested in getting a hairbrush straightener, this one is from Vanity Planet. It is the Vanity Planet Flow ceramic straightening brush. I will put a link in the description and all the information you need to know to get one of these from Vanity Planet because I love this. It has a temperature dial on it, which is super cool. It's super comfortable for holding in your hand and just like straightening your hair. I mean, look at my hair. It looks great. I totally recommend this straightener. It is cool. And the box is so cute. Yes, I save my boxes to my hair tools. I'm a weirdo. The last thing I do to finish up my whole thing I have going on here is I apply this product to my hair. This is like my holy grail product. This has saved my hair throughout the years. It is perfect for if you have bleached hair, which I do at the bottom. I'm currently trying to dye over this and make it brown, but it will not take to brown dye, so it just keeps fading back to blonde. Even if my hair's brown, from here on down, it's still bleach blonde underneath the brown dye. So I take the bedhead after party. It looks like a dildo, but that's okay. I take it and I just pump one full pump into my hand. I rub it through my hands to get it really warm. I just take my hair and I run it through my ends, which is where I really need it because my ends are what's damaged, and then I take the leftover and I just smooth it. Because if you haven't noticed, I have a lot of flyaways and baby hairs that just like to go everywhere. So yeah, that is basically it for my everyday, like natural, easy makeup and hair routine. If you like this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up. Please be sure to check out Vanity Planet. Their links are in the description. And yeah, so thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in my next episode. Bye guys! Voila!